New Zealand Dairy Farmer is proudly brought to you by Hanson Products, providing Kiwi farmers with water system solutions for over 50 years. Welcome back to New Zealand Dairy Farmer. To get the point of view from the local council on what can be achieved through some of their ongoing programs, we spoke to Senior Land Manager Vanessa Vusic at the Auckland Council.
So Vanessa, tell me about some of the funding which farmers may be able to access from Auckland Council for planting work on their properties.
We have a range of environmental funding. Some of that is regionally based. We have one particular fund called the Environmental Initiatives Fund, which provides assistance for projects like riparian fencing, some of the support work that might be needed for weed control, planting work and that kind of thing. And that can cover up to 50% of the cost of a project. The farmer's contribution for that could be, in part at least anyway, some of the labour that's involved in that particular project. We also have some more regionally based programs in the region that I work in, which is the old legacy Rodney area. We have the Rodney Natural Heritage Fund, and that again will help with projects which are of an environmental nature. So again, riparian protection and fencing and planting, also wetland protection and bush remnant type of protection. So those types of initiatives we can support with up to, as I say, 50% of the cost of that particular project.
Are you particularly targeting dairy farmers, or is this funding available to all types of farmers?
They are funds which are open to all takers. We do have a lot of individual landowners applying, but equally we have a number of community groups. We're increasingly having a number of local initiatives with Landcare type of initiatives where they're looking to do a collaborative approach to environmental projects, so we get those kind of applications as well. So each of those, I guess, is assessed in terms of what we see as being the environmental benefits, but also that community building benefit that we get from those kinds of projects, with people working together and sharing their knowledge and their manpower and working collaboratively on those kinds of projects. So, yep.
Have you had a lot of interest from dairy farmers and some of the funding available?
We do. I think we get interest across the board. Yeah, there's a lot of focus, I guess, on protection of waterways at the moment, particularly in the dairy industry, and we work quite closely alongside Fonterra with their sustainability advisors in helping with that support for farmers. So certainly they are approaching us. A lot of it is riparian, but again, it's also often other projects on the farm, maybe marginal areas like wetlands that maybe not suited so well to farming and causing issues for management on the farm, which the farmers are wanting to incorporate behind fences at the same time. So from our perspective, it's really good. It starts to form corridors of protection of waterways and areas for biodiversity to move through in those habitats. So yeah.
The big question for dairy farmers, I guess, what sort of hoops do they have to jump through to get the funding?
For dairy farmers, the best thing really is to approach one of the advisory staff like myself. My team of land management advisors are available to come out on site and walk over the site and take a look at the types of issues that may well be fundamental to the farmer in terms of how he might want to stage or how he might want to set up a particular project. There's going to be some really practical considerations for the farmer in terms of where's the best place for fences, how's that going to affect access and movement of stock and that kind of thing. So it's a matter of us coming out and maybe having that one-on-one kind of discussion and clarifying how it is that we can support the farmers with some of the other aspects that we can. So for example, if it's a riparian strip and the farmer wants a little bit better understanding of maybe some of the potential weed issues that might be there and some of the work that might need to go in there, we can give input from our biosecurity officers. They can come in and give some advice on how that might be done. They might be aware of animal pest issues there. And it could be other things like they want to know just what species they've got there at the moment. You know, what have they got there in the way of remnant native species, so we can get some biodiversity advisors that can give that type of support as well. I think something that we're also finding with farmers that they want to see that the project that they're doing is actually going to make a difference. And so I think one of the things that is really being taken up at the moment is actually what is the water quality like on this waterway? If I'm going to put some fencing up and protect this waterway, what sort of effect is that going to have? So we've got some programs in-house. One of them is called the Y-Care program, and that will come along. We'll actually have some coordinators that can come through to the farms and actually have a look at what is actually living in those waterways, and also take a measure of some of the physical and chemical parameters that are happening there. Things that may well change once that fencing planting project might continue, and it gives some baseline information.
Once a dairy farmer has committed to a project and got the council involved in that, planting's done, what ongoing support, advice or contact do you have with the farmer from there?
Again, that's entirely up to the farmer. We are very happy to forge relationships and build on those relationships. What we're tending to find is that farmers will start on a project, and that project, based on its success, will lead to more projects in the future, and we're really happy to support them in whatever way we can. And that can be logistical support. We may be able to assist with getting some volunteer workers in there that might be able to assist, for example, with some of the projects, some of the site preparation, maybe some of the weed control, maybe the planting itself, and maybe some of the release and the weed control that needs to be done afterwards. So those are the types of things that we can help with. We can also offer other programs in-house. We have a program called Trees for Survival, and that's a program where we have over 70 schools in the Auckland region, and they have a unit where they're growing native plants with the objective that those plants will go out, the students will go out for a planting day onto a rural site, a rural farm, and they will plant those trees onto a riparian area or an area on the farm that's been identified as having maybe soil stability issues. And so it offers an opportunity for some of our students that maybe don't necessarily have a lot of rural experience to have a day on the farm and be involved in a hands-on experience. So that program, we have about 50,000 native trees that goes in there, and we've got about 70 schools involved in that particular program.
For more information on council initiatives around the country, contact the land management team at your local regional council. After the break, we return to John in Matakana to get his views on dairying and its impact on the environment.
And there's no two ways about it. That is the elephant in the room at the moment. The environmental concerns with dairying.
That's coming up after the break on New Zealand Dairy Farmer. New Zealand Dairy Farmer is proudly brought to you by Hanson Products, providing Kiwi farmers with water system solutions for over 50 years.